How to get your TLC license in New York City. Today we're going to be talking about from beginning to end the whole process of how to obtain your TLC license to drive in the 5 boroughs of New York City. You have 90 days from when you start the application to finish. So you have to do all of this stuff within 90 days. The first step in the process is to upgrade to a Class E license. What you're going to do is you're going to go to the DMV and change over the class on your driver's license from a regular driver's license to a chauffeur's license. In the state of New York, a chauffeur's license is a Class E. Your standard driver's license is a Class D. So what you want to do is change over the D license to an E class. You're going to change the Class D license to an E class license, which is a chauffeur's license. What this license does is it allows you to drive taxis and chauffeur people around for pay. That's what a Class E license does. You know how CDL drivers have their letters A, B, and C. Well, the chauffeur's license is a Class E. The chauffeur's license alone is not going to be good enough to drive in the 5 boroughs. So this is why you're applying and obtaining a TLC license, to get permission basically to drive in the 5 boroughs. The TLC license is like an endorsement. It goes along with your chauffeur's driver's license. Together, it allows you to drive vehicles like taxis, green taxis, and the black cars. They'll explain all of that in the 24-hour course. You can ask all the questions you want there. That's a video in its own, and we don't have that kind of time. But as for changing over your Class D for a Class E license, here's the beautiful thing about it. You do not have to have a New York license. You can have any license issued within the United States of America. Because what's going to happen is the TLC is going to ask you for a driver's abstract. So your driver's abstract for your state, it's going to go along with your driver's license. Your driver's abstract is your DMV record, and that shows all the driving history that you have within your state. What is going to happen is the TLC, if you have a different license, out-of-state license, what they're going to do is they're going to ask you for that driver's abstract. If it's clean, it's going to pass. If it's bad, they're going to find out. If you owe tickets, if you owe court, if you owe anybody official, the DMV, if you owe the DMV, if you owe TLC, you're not going to get this license. They have this 100%, you got to pay us before you can work for us policy. Going back to the driver's abstract, they will find out. Because in order for you to get a TLC license, it's a very lengthy process. Welcome to New York, because this is the place where everything is done professional to the T, 100% official. This is not like Florida and other states that you could get away with stuff. Pennsylvania. This is New York City, New York State. They do everything here. Like if you was wiping dust with a white glove. That's how perfect everything is done here. It's not a perfect system, but they treat it like it is. So TLC is very, very, very picky on who they give a license to. And definitely, if you have a bad abstract, fix that and then get the license when you fix all the problems after you pay, because TLC will not give you the license. After you get your Class E on your license, then you can apply for the TLC license. They're not going to let you apply for the TLC license if you do not have a Class E. You could have a Class A, B, C, any other one, but you can't have a regular driver's license. The cost in association to getting your license upgraded from a Class D to a Class E will cost you $35.50. That is pretty much standard for DMV in New York State, because state regulated, and that's the price. So basically $35.50 is what you're going to pay to upgrade from a Class D to a Class E. The next step is actually applying. You want to go to their website, the TLC website. I'm going to leave a link in the description box below so you can go directly to the link. As soon as you're ready with the Class E, because that's the first thing you want to do, they do not let you apply if you do not have a Class E on your license. While applying, what you want to do is make sure that all your information is put correctly, because like I said before, they do not play. TLC is like its own little solid court. You have to have everything in order. You have to have every little document correct. Do not make errors on your application. They're going to charge you $257 with 4 cents to get your application just started. And the application does not cover half of anything. It's just basically like a membership. So you can get the endorsement. Like, oh, okay, I paid you $257. What do I get? Don't think you're going to get much. All you're going to get is direct communication with them. Whenever you submit a form and all your online stuff, you're going to be able to see, because that's what they provide. They do not provide you with a nice looking photo. They do not provide you with a nice, oh, I want to get a new license. Hook me up for free. Nothing is free. Nothing. Everything is, you have to pay for everything. So with that said, $257.04 is what you're going to pay for the application, which is basically like $84 a year for membership, and you have to pay that. You have to pay that every 3 years when you renew. So you're going to be paying $257 when you renew. I don't know if the prices are going to go up in the future, but 2021, that's what I paid, $257.04 just to get the application started, which is pretty much self-explanatory. Moving on. The third thing you're going to do that the TLC is going to request after you've started the process and you already get into the database, which is called TLC Up. It's basically the TLC's portal where you're going to be uploading all of your documentations. They're only going to ask you for 3 or 4 documentations. The first thing they're going to ask for is your chauffeur's license. You have to upload that with the Class E. The next thing they're going to ask you to do is upload a New York State 6-hour motor vehicle accident prevention course, which is 6 hours. You can get this online. You can't half-fast it. You actually have to sit there for 6 hours. There's places that can do it for 3 hours, which will allow you to skip. But the course that I took was 6 hours. I had to sit there for 6 hours until the whole program was done. The 6-hour course is a requirement by the TLC. They want you basically to start off your new license with a clean slate, just in case if you have bad things on your abstract. So if you have points on your driving abstract, this helps out a lot. After you complete this course, you upload the certificate. You have to wait for the certificate to come in the mail. It's going to come in the mail between 7 to 10 business days. I got mine within 6 days. I uploaded it onto the Up TLC portal. As soon as I did, they accepted it. It was easy. I prefer to do it online because it's a lot cheaper. If you call a school, they're going to also tell you to do it online. I paid for the 6-hour course $29.90. Process with a credit card. Everything. The TLC requires you to have an up-to-date version of your 6-hour class. So you have to redo the class every 3 years and keep it updated. Once you have completed the 6-hour course and you've uploaded it onto the TLC portal, the next step is to get your medical examination. TLC requires you to get a medical certificate approved by a doctor. It can't be a nurse. It can't be a MA, a medical assistant. It has to be a certified doctor, and you have to have it stamped in order for it to be validated as official use for the TLC. As soon as you get that, you upload it onto the TLC portal, the same way that you did with the 6-hour course. You could visit any medical professional as long as they stamp it and seal it with their seal, their license number. It has to be a doctor, remember that. These are basically the documentations that TLC is going to ask you to upload. You need your driver's license, the chauffeur license, Class E. You need your 6-hour course. You need your medical certification form, which you also have to print out from the website. It's on there. You print it out and you take it, and they have to fill that particular medical form. As soon as you do that, you also have to get a driver's abstract. That depends if you're coming in with a different state license. That's it. That's the 4 things you basically upload. The other things are requested, but you have no part. That is all sent by the actual companies to TLC. So all you upload is the 4 things I just explained. As soon as you upload every documentation that they require you to do, then you will go and take the drug test at one of their facilities. You go onto the platform and you can get a directory. Set up an appointment. You have to set up the appointment so you can go get the lab work done. That is going to cost you $32. After you get your drug test done, the lab is going to send the results to TLC. So if you do drugs, you're going to fail. If you don't do drugs, you're not going to fail. TLC does drug tests every year. And if they find that you're like driving under the influence or something, they pull you over or whatever, they'll send you to go get an exam. And you pay for that every single time. For the renewal, you have to wait until your appointment date to make an appointment. Every year you have to renew. And you can't renew before the due time. You have to do it when they say. That costs $32. Next on the list, the same way that you set up an appointment for a drug test, you're going to set up an appointment which is going to take 10 minutes tops to get your fingerprints. As soon as you have your appointment to do your fingerprints, it's going to cost you $90.25. That's what I paid. I went to Queens and I got my fingerprints done. Make sure when you go get your fingerprints that you look nice, you look pretty, because guess what? That's the picture that they're going to use on your TLC license. Also, they're going to run a background check. Everything. Make sure that everything is clean and clear, so like that you don't have no problems. The same goes for the 24-hour course. The 24-hour course you're going to set up through a school, which has nothing to do with the TLC. It does when it doesn't. I say that it does and it doesn't because the 24-hour course is through a separate school. TLC does not have the actual 24-hour course on their facility. They send you to another school which is certified. Everything that they partner with is certified. The lab work, the background, the 24-hour class, the wheelchair accessible class, all of that is certified by TLC because that's where they want you to go take all of the information. You can choose any school you want, but it's from a list in any borough. I went to one in the Bronx, and for my 24-hour course, I paid $250, which the internet says is cheaper, but since COVID, I paid $250 for a 24-hour course. Speaking of the 24-hour class, let's jump into that with number 4. The 24-hour course is a class that you're going to take because the TLC requires you to take it. In order for you to take the test, you need to sit through the class. This class used to cost $120 something. It cost me $250. Here's what's included with the $250 purchase. You get nothing. All you get is a director for 3 days that's going to tell you and teach you a map. That's it. And they're going to break down the TLC rulebook. You have to purchase aside the TLC rulebook. Also, you have to purchase the map, which is another book, and a practice exam. In the 24-hour course, the only thing you get is a student manual. It's a printout. It's free. It's not free because you got to pay for all of this. $250. What you're basically paying for is the instructor. They come in. They show you on the first day how to do the maps. They ask you basic questions. The next day, they talk about the TLC rules and the rule book and the fines and everything, the difference between cabs and stuff. I don't want to get into detail too much because you're going to have to sit through it anyway. And then on the very last day, they complete the rule book and they show you a little bit of the questions of the exam. Remember, in order to take the exam, you have to sit in that class. It's a 24-hour class. You sit through it for 8 hours, 3 days out of the week. Usually it's consecutive. 3 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Mine was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I had to pay $75 for a map, the TLC rulebook, and the practice exam, which is worth it if you really study. If you don't study, then you're just wasting money. Every time you take the test, it's $49. Pass or fail. When you finish the class, then you're allowed to take the test. The school will notify the TLC that you have completed the course. Then you're allowed to take the test. While you sit in the class, they recommend that you take the wheelchair accessible class, which is not part of the 24-hour class. They recommend that you take the wheelchair accessible class, which is another 3-hour class separate from the 24-hour class. So like that, you can learn the basics of the wheelchair accessible vehicles, which you need is another requirement for the TLC. That you also schedule an appointment to go to that class. That class is $125. It used to be $75, but they raised it up to $125. Again, COVID. It is not included in the $250. So you have to take the wheelchair accessible class separate from the 24-hour class. That's what you're paying for. 2 separate classes. There are questions on the exam from the wheelchair accessible class, and they're going to run through that. It's about 5 or 10 questions that they can ask you that are on the exam. For the most part, the exam is fairly easy. They ask you 80 questions. They're going to break down all of that in the 24-hour class. I don't want to spoil it for you. If you have questions or concerns, you ask them in the 24-hour class. Everything that's going to come out on the exam. The exam is easy. I scored a 97%. It's not that difficult. You can knock it all out in 3 or 4 days if you really are active at getting it. But because of COVID, everything is pushed back. Especially, you have to wait for the appointment for the DMV. You have to wait for most of these appointments in these places. Scheduling the wheelchair accessible class is smaller. The quantities of people in classrooms are not like before crowded in. They switched up the 24-hour class, which used to be 12 hours, 2 days. They switched it to 3 days. A lot of things changed, but the whole process, start to finish, cost me $1,063.64. The prices were license change, $35.50. $29.90 for the safety drivers. The TLC application was $257.04. The TLC drug screen was $32. The fingerprints for the TLC was $90.25. The 24-hour class was $250. The wheelchair accessible class was $125. The TLC books with a surprise hit of $75. My out-of-state abstract was $29.95. The TLC exam was $49, and my medical exam was $90, bringing me to a grand total of $1,063.64. So there you go. That's the process of getting your TLC license in New York City. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next video.